Awesome. Thank you, Gina. So we'll go ahead and proceed now that we have Councilwoman Bybee. It's about 2:01 on May the 3rd of 2021. This is the meeting for the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission. We're going to call the meeting to order. America, if you can please do roll call.
Amber Joyner.
Here.
Leanne McCauley. Misty Von Allen.
Here.
Natalie Sanchez.
Here.
Alice Ledesma.
Here.
Jim Nadeau.
Present.
Sheriff Balaam. He's not here yet. Charlene Bybee.
Here.
Peg Samples. She's not here yet. Coretta Patterson. She's not. Jeffrey Frame.
Here.
Scott Benton.
I'm here.
Lorraine Benuto.
I'm here.
Jessica Gogachia Paris.
Here.
Ivy Bodmal. She's not present. Roll call has been taken.
Thank you, America. We're going to move on to item 1.03, which is public comment. And I'm going to read a statement as we move on to this item. Comments from the public are invited at this time on topics not specifically addressed, whether elsewhere in the agenda. Due to the current state of emergency declared by our governor, members of the public wishing to make public comment to the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission must submit their comments via email at shsccommittee@washoeschools.net. Any public comments received will be forwarded to the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission for its consideration, consistent with the emergency provisions noted above. America, do we have any public comment?
We received public comment from Mr. Wass, Mr. Escovedo, and one that I just forwarded to the commissioners from Erica.
Thank you. The next item that we have is item.
Excuse me,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Mr. Chairman, I do have a question that's probably for legal. Do we have legal here?
And we have Miss Session with us today.
Okay, perfect. On the public comment, I know that we were sent copies of those emails that were sent, but I'm curious why on this, and we don't get that many to this committee or commission, but why the public comments are not read. I know that we do in the city of Sparks. If we get emails, they're read during the meeting. And I've seen other boards that just simply include them in the record. And I really kind of take issue with the fact that someone takes the time to contact us. We read them, but it's not really read so that the public who's watching this meeting is able to do that. And so under the open meeting law and under the special provisions, because of COVID situation and us being virtual, why have we decided, and is that what the school district is doing? If people aren't in person, why is it just put in the record and never read during the meeting? Thank you.
Sure. And I can look into some of it because I off the top of my head, I don't have a full answer to your question. I can tell you that the Board of Trustees handles public comment in the same manner. And I know they get a larger volume, certainly, than the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission receives. So, but I can look into it for you to see if I can get a better answer. In fact, I'll see if I can get a better answer before the end of the meeting today.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I understand, obviously we have to comply with the open meeting laws, but it frustrates me that we really aren't hearing the voices of the public. You know, it goes into my email and we all here on the commission get to read it, but other people don't. And I don't think that truly is the spirit of public comment. And I just wanted to voice my opinion on that and check on, the reasoning behind that and the legality. So I do appreciate whatever information you can provide for me. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilwoman Bybee. Dr. McNeil, I saw you come off mute. So I wanted to give you the option to respond if you wanted to. No? Okay, we'll come back to her if she desires to do so. We're going to move on to item 1.04. And Councilwoman Bybee, I appreciate your voice. It's always great to hear that. And I would echo your sentiments. We always want to hear the public. And I think by doing so, we'll get an answer from this session. Thank you. Item 1.04 is our action to adopt the agenda. This is an action item. With that, I would like to take something off the agenda, and that was, Dr. Lamarca, is it item 2.04? Is it the discussion on summer school?
No, it's the item, maybe I'm looking at a different agenda. It's the item, let me pull up my agenda, Scott.
Okay, thank you.
No, it's the update on student town hall on social emotional wellness.
Okay.
Our
2.05.
student, right, our student representative Ivy was going to present on that, and she had a last minute commitment and was not able to be here today.
Perfect. So if the commission is okay, I would like to pull item 2.05. Hearing that our student representative is not going to be making it to our meeting today, if we can move that to our agenda for June.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I
Mr.
just
Nader.
move that we adopt the agenda as amended.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second, this is Amber.
Thank you, Commissioner Joyner. And with that, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you so much. That moves us into our presentation, discussion, and action items. Our first item is 2.01, and this is the introduction of our new commission members. I'm going to send this over to Dr. Lamarca.
Thank you, Scott. For the record, Paul Lamarca, Chief Strategies Officer. The newest member who was appointed by the board this past Tuesday is Peg Samples, and Peg messaged me before the meeting. Unfortunately, she got hung up in court and she was unable to join us today. So she wanted to send her fellow commissioners an apology. Peg is Chief Deputy District Attorney, and she's the director of the Child Advocacy Center. So she'll be a great addition to your commission, I believe. And she can introduce herself at the next meeting.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. With that, we'll move into item 2.02, which is the approval of the minutes from the April 5th meeting of the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission. This is an action item, so if there is anybody interested in making a motion.
This is Misty. I move to approve the minutes of April 5th, 2021 for the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission.
Thank you, Vice Chair Allen. Is there a second for that motion?
This is Natalie. I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanchez. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. On to item 2.03, which is our update on the school safety assessment. This is for presentation and discussion, and it looks like Mr. Anderson and Mr. Perry are going to be joining us.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Benton. Roy Anderson, Emergency Manager for Washoe County School District, and I'll be co-presenting today with Michael Perry, or Perry, who is our school safety advocate, or school safety specialist. And if I can, I'm going to share my screen. Got a quick presentation we can go through, and hopefully everyone can see that. Are we good?
Yes. Great.
Awesome. Thank you. So let's get moving forward. So just to give the council, especially since we have some new members, just an updated, just brief history on some of the work that was being done for our safety assessments prior to our hire of Perry. We were working with the School Safety Advocacy Council. Their first contract was in 2016. They provided a comprehensive assessment for district safety measures. They provided about 50 recommendations to enhance school safety. And just some of the examples here are the single point of entry that has been updated and completed with all middle schools and high schools in the district. Our visitor management software that were implemented and processes that we've been kind of fine tuning over the last couple of years. And then finally, an update to the school-based emergency operations plan, which I was able to get completed last school year. And then obviously every year per NRS, we update it as we move forward. The contract with the School Safety Advocacy Council consisted of 4 one-year contracts. They assessed approximately 59 schools and administrative buildings. They conducted student forums on safety and as well as parents, and then did some focus groups with the principals to kind of go through what their process was, kind of fine tune what they were doing to try to see if it met our needs. We had an update to NRS in 2019, and this required the school districts to assign or appoint a school safety specialist. Part of what they were part of their duties were to review policies, procedures, conduct an annual school security risk assessment, and then serve as a liaison with local public entities, fire, police, those entities, and help provide some school building familiarity. So as we kind of get going through, we want to have them, the local responders, be a little bit more familiar with our buildings as they respond to different emergencies if need be. So with the need for our assessments, there's still approximately 42 schools that were in need of those assessments. Our original plan was to use a 5th year of the School Safety Advocacy Council, their contract, and have the new school safety specialists work with them to kind of learn their assessment model, see what process they do and how we can integrate it and make it our own. Unfortunately, we ran into COVID, right? We had that affect all of us and what we were doing. So we kind of had to be a little bit more flexible. So what we've ended up doing is Perry has developed an assessment tool on his own and really based it on the reports that we had from the School Safety Advocacy Council on different assessment tools that Department of Homeland Security has with Department of Justice, FBI. Cyber and Infrastructure Security Agency is a new agency that was developed in the last couple of years. They've really have a lot of really comprehensive tools that helps with different assessments. There's the Readiness and Emergency Management in Schools. That's a technical assistant through the department or the federal Department of Education, and they have some assessment tools. And then obviously some industry best practices. So Perry is able to take those, kind of meld them together, make a better tool for us. And Perry's going to share that here in just a moment. The other benefit of having an in-house assessment, someone that can do in-house assessments, is we really have some strong collaboration now with district departments. A couple of them are per NRS based on the new law. But obviously, a couple of them are also best practices. So when we look at working with our school counseling departments, like school psychologists, and different departments within the district, of seeing things that they either require or would like to see in schools as a best practice, part of our assessment will actually go into some of those as well. So I'm going to turn over the presentation to Perry. He'll just kind of do a quick little overview of the assessments, give you some examples of what we're looking at, and then we'll be able to answer any questions after that. Perry?
Thank you, Roy. Commissioner and panel board. Basically what I did was I created a thorough assessment that looks at everything from the sprinklers running to how the kids are interacting in schools and the actual physical buildings. That assessment is broken down into 7 separate sections. You have the campus and grounds, exterior signage, which was something that was a big thing from the SSAC perspective. You have school buildings, you have safety and security procedures, emergency response plans, which is really driven by the NRS, the physical climate of the school, what's good for the environment for our kids? Do we have the things that are there? Then we also have what I incorporated based on the knowledge that I have plus other agencies is I actually generate a threat, hazard, and risk assessment, which will give the school an overall rating and a direction that they need to know about the threats that are in their area. Go ahead, Roy. The first section is the campus and grounds. So when I get there, I'm looking at the perimeter fencing. I'm looking at the driveways. I'm looking at the parking lot, sidewalks, mechanical systems. Do we have addresses that are visible from the street? Do they actually have CCTV systems that are there? What's the landscaping look? And then I also verify whether or not they have flood and earthquake mitigation depending on their location. Thank you. Then I look at all the exterior signage. What signage is actually in place? If we have a campus that is open to the public after school hours, obviously we're not going to have a no trespassing sign. However, if it is a closed campus after hours, the importance and value of those signs and what they relate to. Again, with the CCTV, if we do have a CCTV system in there, we should have signs in place. So I look at all that signage from a street level, a vantage point. Also included is walking around those areas. Do we have boiler rooms that actually have signs that warn people that there are dangers that could be in there? So I look at all of the visible signage as I walk the campus and the general area. The school building itself, I look at the controlled single point of entry. Do they have one? Are they propping doors open? Do they have windows that are closed prior to people entering there? What's the actual physical security and safety aspect of it? I look at doors, windows, classrooms, non-classrooms, custodial storage, and all of that good stuff that's there that's associated with the physical presence of the building. In partnership with the health service, I also am checking to see, do they have an AED in place? Do they have stop the bleed kits? Do we have EpiPens that are readily available, and where are they located? And I capture that information in the assessment. When I get into section 4, I'm looking at those safety and security procedures. Not just, do you have a book that's up on a bookshelf that you can say, hey, look, we have that there. What are those procedures? I'm looking at the student safety programs in compliance with anti-bullying, peer-to-peer reviews, any of those programs that we have to include Safe Voice and Secret Witness. Visitor control, do they actually have a procedure for the visitor control process? Key control, radio operations, and general administration plans. Do we have things in place that assist our administrators in reacting correctly to any given incident? Then I get into the emergency response plans. Based on what Roy was saying, Roy and myself kind of worked with the whole update to the EOP. He did most of the legwork. I only got to put the extra periods where they needed to be and an occasional I that needed to be dotted. But it went out to the schools. So I'm going out to the schools during my assessments and simply asking, do you have the new school-based operations plan, or do you know how to get to it? It's not a go, no go in what I do. I'm assessing those things, whether or not they're even aware of them. Once I get the yeses, do you have training in place? Do you have training related to the EOP? Are you able to conduct yourself in a wildland fire evacuation based on this? Do you understand it, and has training been done? That also includes a lot of the additional trainings with the codes and everything else. I also partner with Safe Routes to Schools. And that's to go in and ask, do you have a safe routes plan? Are you implementing the plan? If not, let me put you in touch with the people that can make that happen. Then I look at the actual physical climate for the kids. Do we have a pride in ownership that's at the campus when you walk onto the campus? Is students' work and activity readily displayed around the campus, or is it a little cold and it doesn't have that? Then I take a look at just things work in general. When you turn a doorknob, does the doorknob open? When you push a push bar, does the push bar work? I usually walk or I meet and sit down with the SFCs at the campuses and ask them specifically, what works, what doesn't work? Just give me an idea. What are we looking at? I also look at all the programs that could be there and the well-being of the students, again, with the anti-bullying and any of those programs that are out there. The staff, does it have a mentoring program? Is there a well-being process in place? Are students actually learning SOS where they need to learn SOS? Then I look at the district threat assessment. In the district's threat assessment, do they understand the process to identifying those individuals that qualify under that, and then who handles that? Then that information can then be forwarded up to psychological services and any of those groups over there that need that information. Section 7 is one of my kind of pastimes for many, many years when it comes to threat hazards and risk assessments. I set a 1 mile radius around the campus through my mapping, and I identify any natural threats or hazards like floodplains. Are you sitting near a creek that washes out during the winter or anything like that? Any seismic events? Are you sitting near a fault line? What things are there? Then technological threats. Is the campus park next to a large distribution center where large trucks are moving in and out on a regular basis? Because that could impact the kids that are walking to and from school or just normal traffic. I also look at the infrastructure risks. What are the things within there that could isolate that school to prevent an evacuation? I culminate all of that information into a little map grid that the school can get, which we'll see and what I've identified in that area. And this is really that heads up for planning. So as we engage the campuses, or as Roy engages the campuses with their emergency procedures and operations, they can understand where they may have to readjust because you're at this school now that's right next to a floodplain, and the last school you were at was nowhere near a floodplain. So we want them just to kind of raise that awareness so they're understanding it. And then after I conduct the assessment, all of that is culminated into what I call the detailed summary report. It has the pictures, the narratives, and all that good stuff that is readily available to the actual administration, where they can review it, take from it, and make those changes and adjustments. Now, my position cannot recommend any changes or ways of doing things. My position allows me or fortitudes me the ability to make suggestions for areas of possible improvement. This actually builds on that knowledge base to allow principals and administrators to make decisions based on facts or observations. And then once that's completed, then I move on to my next school.
All right, thank you, Perry. So now I'd like to open up to the commission and see if there's any questions for him.
Commissioners, are there any questions? It looks like Councilwoman Bybee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I really appreciate, Michael, just an incredibly thorough assessment, that in-house assessment. At first, I'm like, oh, you know, sometimes when you're inside, you don't see things like someone coming in, like our other company that came in from the outside and sees things that we don't see because we look at them every day. But I'm thoroughly convinced by what you just presented. It is thorough, it is detailed. I have a lot of confidence in it. I did have a question on your detailed summary report. You said you can make suggestions, but not decisions. Are the decisions made by the principals, or are they made by the superintendent or by the board of trustees?
That would be outside my wheelhouse, ma'am. My biggest thing is to be a data collection point to provide that information up channel and allow who needs to make the decisions. I mean, because we're talking about everything from a psychological programs perspective all the way up to a possible facilities change. But in order to state, if I was to state, I recommend this get done, that means that's my singular perspective to make something change. And I'm merely the eyes in the ground where I go, hey, I see this. Someone needs to say something or have a conversation about it.
Okay. And I don't know if maybe Superintendent McNeil could answer that question, kind of to understand what the decision-making flow chart, so to speak. Thanks.
No, I appreciate that, and great question, Commissioner, and wonderful job, Roy and Perry. I think the detail was very much appreciated, at least by myself, and I know by the commissioners as well. So it's really going to depend, Commissioner Bybee, on what the actual recommendation may be. So if it's a one-off on one particular site, depending on what that is, then it's going to be a consultation with the principal and the area superintendent. If we have to have school police involved for whatever, decision point would be made, then, we would consult with the chief. If it's a pattern that we're seeing in a couple of buildings, then it may go up to the area superintendent level so that we can make a coordinated effort. Perry was talking about a psychological evaluation. So it's something, if it's something within the protocols that are a concern, then we would meet obviously with our school psychologists. If it's on a broader basis, affecting more schools, I'm going to use the numbering that as an example, then that's something that we would do systemic throughout the district. So it really depends on what that recommendation is going to be.
And if I could add, for example, the area, the hazards that are, say, the 1 mile around, those types of information is more of an awareness. So that way the school can then understand that, hey, we have to focus on this type of preparedness, maybe a little bit more than, we're not in a flood area, but we have hazardous materials close by. So we have to focus when we practice and we prepare for emergencies, we can focus then on that and not so much, like say, on the flooding or things like that. So some of it is awareness of, maybe we can't fix it, but we can mitigate or prepare for, how to help lessen the event of if something does occur.
Awesome, great question, Councilwoman Bybee. Next, I have Vice Chair Allen.
Thank you, Chair Benton, and wonderful presentation, Perry and Roy. I just wanted to clarify, you mentioned threats for psychological needs and the emergency operating plan. Where would I know by law, you need a postvention and prevention suicide prevention strategy, and I think there's a bill that kind of updates some of that, but where would we find that? In the EOP or?
So the emergency operations plan does have a annex. So when we're talking recovery or responding to, say, a death or a suicide of a student, that would fall under the appendix document that comes from the counseling department that handles the the recovery for that. So for example, we just had a response, a couple weeks last week because of an incident at school. So that would be handled through the counseling department with the plan and the steps in being housed in the emergency operation plan. So it's one of the ways we collaborate with, that our department collaborates with other district departments. And then from the beginning, or the front side of that, then we're looking at the behavioral threat assessment. So that would be school psychologists working with the school, with school police to go through their protocols. So yes, that's another piece in the plan, but again, handled by a different department. And it's just one of the ways that as emergency management, we have to coordinate with other departments that handle either the prevention or the response to an emergency.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from the commission? No, I see none. Thank you, Roy, and thank you, Perry, for the great presentation, a wealth of information. I think Councilwoman Bybee said it well. There was the hesitation when we heard that it was going to be an internal process, but you laid it out great. And there, for me and a single person, there's no hesitation. I think the district has placed it in the right hands. So thank you, Perry, for giving us the information that we needed.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. So that was item 2.03, which was just a presentation and discussion. So we'll move on to item 2.04, which is an update on summer school plans in the schools for 2021, which is a presentation and discussion item only, and this is going to go over to Dr. Troy Parks.
Thank you, Chair Benton, and thank you to the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission for allowing me to provide an update on our summer school. Again, I'm Troy Parks, and I am our Chief Academic Officer. And I'm going to try to share my screen as well. Can you see the slide now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm going to try to make this a quick update for you. Obviously, we're extremely excited about this summer school this year. In the past, we've had what we would call independent summer school, and that would be where our schools would only do summer school if they felt it was absolutely necessary. At the elementary level, we had very few. At the high school level, we've always had really good participation because we're working on credit recovery and credit accrual. And we have a tremendous opportunity this year to really have a robust summer school programming. Hold on one second. All right. So we've been working on this since early in the spring. We have a group of teachers and counselors who started around spring break, really starting to plan for what this could look like. Additionally, we meet with all of our departments weekly. That's my next meeting here. And so we are working on the logistics between nutrition services, our transportation, really looking at what it's going to take for housekeeping, all those behind the scenes things that you have to make sure you're taking care of. And we are extremely proud of our work with our businesses and community, many including some that are going to be delivering virtual presentations to our middle schoolers have already responded and are excited about the opportunity as well. And again, we'll keep working on this plan until we finalize it somewhere at the end of May. Here are some highlights. We are different than summers past. All students are invited and there is no charge for anything. We are providing transportation. If a student lives in an area that usually would be transported, we're not able to, at this time, provide transportation if our students are living within the walk zones. Our dates, we start that week of June 22nd, and we run full days, basically every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday until July 15th. Our students will have about a 5.5-hour day. We're really excited about this opportunity as well, that our educators that are participating, they will be able to receive a full day daily rate of pay. That's very different from the past where we only paid them an hourly rate. So your more established veteran teachers will get a daily rate of pay that'll be exactly what they would have made during the regular school year. We are providing breakfast and lunch. This is going to be a grab and go opportunity, and we are emphasizing a lot of fun. Obviously, some of our schools are going to be under construction during the summer, and with that, we're going to have to go to more of a regional approach. So we're working through the logistics of that. Weekly, we provide all of our principals updates on their frequently asked questions. Really good news update today, and I updated this as of today. While we only opened up registration in mid-April, as of today, we have about 5,300 students registered in our elementary and middle school. We're seeing anywhere from 200 to 300 to even one night we saw 1,000 new students registering for summer school. We've worked real hard with our communications department, making sure we are getting the word out. Here are some examples of our digital presence. Obviously on our front page of our district website, we have the schools, the slider. That link takes our community to information about summer school. Our high school students talks about what they're able to do for our families that don't want to come to the in-person model. We have many different opportunities for them to participate virtually. And there's also going to be a information video that we're developing that will be on the Facebook page and website. You've also, maybe if you have children in the district, heard we've been making phone calls. Principals have been sending out flyers. Our FACE liaisons and FACE specialists have been working with families as well, reminding them of this opportunity. And then we're real proud of our work with some of our community partners, our Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe and Reno Sparks Indian Colony. They too are distributing the flyers and talking to their members to make sure that they know about summer school. And we've also had some really good meetings with the Chamber of Commerce, and that's how we were able to get a lot of this community engagement done. Here's some of the fun parts of what we're going to be able to do. Mentioned earlier, we have business executives who are volunteering to come speak to our middle school students about careers. Education Alliance is working on virtual field trips for all of our elementary school children. And then for our students that attend, they will get a free ACES ticket and discount tickets to a game for their family. So real quick, at the elementary and middle school levels, again, we offer both the in-person model, which students will go to their zoned or designated school site. And there's also going to be virtual opportunities for students to participate with the many different academic programs that we have available for them. We're going to have a real emphasis on math, reading, and then obviously we're going to be also emphasizing the fun at the end of the day and our virtual field trips and collaboration with our community. And so this is what a typical day might look like at the elementary and middle. Quick grab and go breakfast. We would want our teachers to have a welcoming ritual where they'll go over a social, emotional learning opportunity for students. Then you might have a block for your reading language arts, recess, and then focus on some key math concepts. At lunchtime, it'll be a grab and go opportunity. We anticipate students eating together outside and in the classrooms. And then to finish off the day, there will have an enrichment block, a lot of team building activities. And again, at the end of the day, we'll be wrapping up with a social emotional opportunity, what we call an optimistic closer. At our high schools, it's going to look a little bit different. because they're earning credits to be able to graduate. So for our incoming ninth graders, we're going to focus heavily on what we call Jumpstart. And this will be really skill focused in getting students who might need the extra support ready for freshman English as well as algebra. So we'll focus really closely in on those skills. And then our high schools also traditionally will offer their own programming. And of course, any and all of it is free to our students. This is just a little bit more about the Jumpstart, how we're going to really hone in on skills that are going to make our students successful in those classes in their freshman year. And that is the quick update on summer school. Are there any questions?
Questions from the commission? Troy, it looks like you put a lot of work into it. It's great information, and I think it was a question that I had that I'll ask. I know that you talked about virtual and in-person with the elementary schools. Is that going to be an option for the middle schools and high schoolers as well, or is it just for the elementary schools?
Yes, we have many different programs that will be available to both middle school and high school. On our websites, if parents go there, they have information that will talk about the different opportunities. One of them is Dreambox. That is a really good practice for students in math. We also have Mayan, which is a really good place for students to work on reading and language arts. And we have information on the website now, and there'll be more information available as well. We want to capitalize on one of the silver linings of the pandemic is that we have quite a bit more technology. So we want to put that to good use for our families. And if there's a need to have that laptop for learning over the summer, we want to make sure we utilize it for that.
Awesome, thank you. Dr. Lamarca.
Thanks, Scott. I just wanted to say thanks to Troy, and we wanted to bring this in part to the commission because we do see this as a safety issue. As you know, kids that have been isolated at home have struggled social emotionally, so we wanted to give them as many opportunities of this nature as possible. We are wondering about what kind of impact the last year has had academically, and things kind of relate together. So a child who's behind academically could find themselves being more frustrated or more isolated, and so we do see this engagement activity as related to student safety, especially on the social emotional side of things.
Absolutely, thank you for sharing that. Another question that I had that you had mentioned that teachers are going to be teaching 5.5 hours, or as a district, are we seeing that more teachers are engaged in the summer school track?
Yes, thank you for that question. I meant to include it. I got an update today that over 200 teachers have already applied for that 12-day summer school opportunity. So it does look as if that opportunity to earn a full day of pay, which we are going to be expecting them, between preparation and phone calls and stuff to work a full day. So that does seem like it is helping. So at this point, we have over 200 teachers that have applied, which is a good sign because we're hoping they'll also advocate for our students to come to summer school and have the opportunity.
Thank you.
Chair, if I may,
Yes, Dr. McNeil, go ahead.
I would just like to make a shameless plug on behalf of the school district to get our commissioners out there and help us spread the good word about our summer school program. We'd like to see 25% of our students involved in summer school. It's going to be a very comprehensive program, free of charge, just like Troy was saying, breakfast and lunch, full day, lots of activities. I'm really thankful to the chamber and all of the support that we've been getting from the chamber and our other community partners to make this not only, as both Paul and Troy were talking about, academic learning loss and mental health, but also fun and engaging. And so if you guys can just get that word out. Registration, we have a soft close on Monday, or this Friday, sorry, the 7th. Calling it a soft close because if anybody wants to still enroll, the schools will be working with them. But if we can get people on board, that would be wonderful.
Yes, we can certainly do that. Any questions from the commissioners?
I just want to thank you, Mr. Parks and Dr. McNeil. I am very excited about what you put together, and it would be a pleasure to share it.
Thank you, Misty. All right, we are going to move on to item 2.06, which is the update on school reopening efforts related to COVID-19 pandemic, including steps taken to open schools and other information released to the Washoe County School District since April 5th, 2021, Safe and Healthy Schools Commission meeting. And this is going to Dr. LaMarca.
Thank you, Scott. So this is just a very brief update again. And it's kind of mixed. Most of this is what was shared at the board meeting, but we updated a couple of slides because it's been a couple of weeks since the board meeting, or a week. Here is the COVID risk meter. It's still in the high region, but I'll tell you that even when this was published, it was at 4.0, the score, which is really in the yellow region. And as of today, it's at 3.5. The TMRPA doesn't move the meter on a daily basis because they want a bit of a track record before they shift colors, just because they don't want to yo-yo the community up and down. I'll skip forward real quick. Here are the scores as of today. So you can see we're at 3.5 and really in pretty good shape based on the meter. 3.5, the 3.5 region is the lowest we've been in a very long time. So that's good news. Our last data dashboard update was on the 27th of April. This is actually post board meeting. And at that time, the TMRPA was at 4.0, but it was still in orange because they hadn't clicked down to yellow. I'm sure that's going to happen any day now. Average daily cases was 8.28, which is very good. Of course, we'd like it lower, but it is what it is. And I think the test positivity, it's covered on my screen, but I think that says 6.7. And you're really shooting for about 5% on that. So we're in pretty good shape. Things have been headed in the right direction. We know restrictions have loosened up and are loosening up. Although if you look across the nation, you look at other countries, this is not over yet. So I hope every chance we can, people will remain vigilant. Here is just the trend of cases per 100,000 broken down by really our adult population, that's in blue, high school population in orange. I believe the green is really our elementary population. Yellow are kids that have not yet been in school. Some of them are in preschools. And you can see we're trending in the right directions. One kind of oddity is that the case per 100,000 rate for our high school population now exceeds that for the adult population. That's probably due to vaccinations and other factors, but that's a bit of a scary element. It's a good thing that kids generally don't get as ill, but that's something we are watching. That's it for data. The Board of Trustees followed Dr. McNeil's recommendation on the 27th, I think is when we met, and we remain in hybrid and we remain in person. but our schools are doing everything they can to invite as many kids in as often as possible, whether that's through tutoring opportunities, additional 5-day instruction depending on need, and then student engagement in various activities. So the schools have done a tremendous job really since spring break, bringing kids back in. I didn't share that data with you, but several thousand additional students are showing up really on a daily basis across K-12. And so we're really pleased with that. So Scott, I'm going to leave it at that, and maybe there are questions.
Are there questions from the commission? Commissioner Bybee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I do have a question with regards to the next school year. When will the decision be made on your reopening plans in the fall? And if you're able to get off the hybrid and we get everybody in school full time, at what point do you envision being able to make that decision so that parents and families and just the community is well aware in plenty of time for that to happen? I'm hoping that will happen, but can you give us an idea of what your timeline looks like?
Sure. We are presenting to the Board of Trustees on May 25th regarding what we expect the plan for reopening to be. And based on what we all see in terms of the restrictions in the community, we're very hopeful for all kids back in, should they choose to come back in. We will have a robust distance education opportunity for any family that chooses it. However, it'll shift this year. It won't be provided by each site. It'll all go through our North Star virtual high school, really our virtual school. There will likely still be restrictions in place. There will definitely be exclusions if there are children or staff that become ill and there are close contacts. And that's a challenge because it's almost a mixed message in terms of reductions in social distancing, but yet we exclude based on the old criteria. But that'll remain the case for the time being. We are working with the health district. I mean, the hard part, Member Bybee, with this is that conditions change. So what I'm saying is, under the assumption that what the governor has shared is able to take place. If we hit a spike in the middle of summer, he and or the Board of Trustees or the county might impose greater restrictions, and we'll have to go back to the drawing board. But we are working with the health district really on what it looks like for our schools if we continue to see a decline, if we remain relatively static, or if we worsen. And we're going to try to have different plans in place given how conditions might change. I will say the health district, and that's just, if you just think of it, it's almost commonsensical, but the health district does expect that COVID will be with us for a while. It's going to follow probably a cycle similar to flu. So we do, unfortunately, kind of anticipate an uptick in the fall months once again. That was a long answer to your question.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And I would guess, like all of us in each of the jurisdictions with the health district and all of the metrics, we're able to look. I mean, we've got so many valuable tools to help the region, and I really see this as a regional effort. I mean, this is Reno, Sparks, Washoe County School District, Health District. I mean, all of us, and we've been trying to work together because it doesn't make any sense for each of us to individually do our own thing and set our own metrics. But the metrics that are in place with the risk meter, with the effluent studies that we've been doing out here at our water facility is really valuable because it's proactive. It tells you ahead of the game what those numbers are going to be. So I know as a region, I would anticipate, and like you said, it changes it changes so frequently. The governor changes so frequently that it's something we have to be nimble But I really appreciate that working together and then looking at what those trigger points are, should there be an uptick. And I think if that's all set up, it makes it so much quicker to react and to make decisions when you know if we reach whatever metric, what the action is, and so that we're not all guessing what's going to happen. So thank you so much for your work and for, and I appreciate the option for those families who do want to remain virtual. I think that's important too. So thank you so much.
Any other questions? Commissioner Sanchez, did I see your hand up? Okay, maybe it was my hand over your box. All right. Seeing no other questions, we'll move on to item 2.07, which is discussion and possible action to determine tentative content, logistics, and marketing of the 2021 Safety Forum. I know at the beginning of this meeting, Dr. LaMarca sent out the flyer that the communications team has put together for us. So I hope everybody has had a chance to look at that with the narratives on the topics. And with that, I will turn it over to our Vice Chair, Ms. Dewana Allen.
Thank you, Chair Benton. I hope you all got to see the flyer. It went out last week, but as you all know, the timing is very tight and it is next week. So I want to make sure we can get wide marketing on it. Megan was a wonderful help and guide in the technological logistics of this event. So we are looking at, as you might remember, 1 hour in the morning from 7 to 8 a.m., 1 hour at noon to 1, and 1 hour at 6 to 7. Some families might want to attend twice because they can see all 4 sessions. So it says and or on the flyer for people to know that they're more than welcome to do more than one. We are going to have an introduction from Chair Benton and then a taped introduction from Dr. McNeil that will show at all 3 events. And then we're looking at session 1A to be the human trafficking, 1B to be suicide prevention, 2A to be school safety, and 2B to be mental health and wellness. I know we got some volunteers at the last meeting, but we would love a commissioner in each session at each time of day. So I don't know if someone wants to do all 3 or you just want to pick 1 hour and 1 session, but I'd love to take some more volunteers if you have specifications on that. And topics. I believe Commissioner Joyner, you wanted mental health and wellness and the school safety, but they'll be at the same time. Did you want to do 1 in the morning and 1 later?
I'm happy to be wherever you need me. I think I had said the building and safety one, but anywhere is fine. My question was going to be actually, if we decide to come as commissioners, will there be a different login? Because the public one looks like it's just maybe I can't tell that it's interactive. Will everyone have the same interactive link, or is it going to be on the YouTube channel?
I think Megan decided with consultation not to put it on the YouTube channel. Yes, Fatima, please, I know you have the answers.
Yeah, if you give me 1 second, let me move to a different place that is less noisy. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, thank you.
And then I wanted to provide some clarification on something, Misty.
Yes, please.
The time for the evening session is from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. And then I am also going to record the introduction so that I can be interactive and be a part
Thank
of
you for that clarification.
Just so that people aren't upset when they see that it's a recording. So I'm meeting with the communications team tomorrow to record that.
Okay.
So yes, both mine and superintendent's will be recorded.
I appreciate that clarification.
Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry, another question.
Sorry, no, I was just gonna say, Missy, I'm happy to take the 12 to 1 slot to be available.
For mental health and wellness?
Anywhere you want to stick me.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, so as far as the format, it's going to be via a Zoom. So it's going to be a Zoom meeting. We're going to have links for each of the different times, separate links, but it's going to be available for the public and for you as presenters with the same Zoom link. It's not going to be live streamed just because we have the different tracks, but we're going to record it, and then that recording is going to be available later and posted on the website for access.
Thank you, Fatima. Who is going to be in charge of maneuvering? I know Megan mentioned a possible video to help maneuvering toward breakout rooms. Are we going to have assistance with that for families?
Yes, we're going to create a short tutorial video to tell them how to, as part of the introduction, we're going to then, after the opening remarks, have the short video explaining how to go into the different breakout sessions and also how to access interpretation services that we'll have.
Great, thank you. I would love more commissioners. We need one commissioner on each breakout, which would be 12 different commissioners, please. And I'm presenting on one of them.
I can help at the 7 a.m. one.
And which topic would you like, or do you care?
Mental health.
Okay.
This is Leanne Larson. Is it possible for me to get back to you via email on which one I would be able to attend as far as time, and then you can put me wherever you need me?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
No problem. I'll be back in touch.
Misty, this is Alice Ledesma, and I will do the same. I've got some conflicts, but I'm gonna move them around.
Great. And really, it's just being present during the session to monitor the chat, maybe
Sure.
help with questions. That's all. Thanks so much.
Misty, I'm available the 12 to 1 as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I will just take the names then, and we'll just move people around as topics are needed.
Yeah. Misty, the only one I would be available for is the 7 a.m. And I'm not a morning person, so I'll make sure I have lots of coffee. But wherever you want to put me on the 7 a.m., I have conflicts the rest of the day.
I appreciate that. And I'm sure you're delightful even without coffee. Are there any others at this moment who are aware they're available?
Missy, you can plug me into one at every session. I have that day blocked out for this, so.
Great, good, thank you. And anyone who needs to think about it, please don't hesitate to email me and I'll get you on the schedule, and I'll send out an agenda with any empty spots so that you can have a look and fill them in.
And Missy, I would just encourage you to send it to Dr. LaMarca just so that he can send it out, so it's not coming from commissioner to commissioner, so that we aren't violating any open meeting law.
I appreciate that, Chair Benton. Always
Thank
keep
you.
me on my toes.
Thank you.
This is Amber. I had a quick question. You said that the flyer went out last week. As a parent, I didn't see it. I didn't see an email. I didn't see it anywhere. So what is the strategy for getting it out? Obviously, we will all help, but I just want to make sure y'all know that it didn't get out.
I think what Misty's referring to, Amber, is that we, as the chair and vice chair, were privy to it and to approve it, and then we just got it as commissioners about 2 o'clock today.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you. I misunderstood that then.
Sorry.
And thank you, Commissioner Joyner. It was also posted on the website. I want to double check that link. I did not have luck going to that link, but it could have been me. So yes, today we're going to start sending it far and wide, and I believe Fatima can help with that. Thank you, Fatima.
Yes, so we actually sent out a connected message email to all families on the 28th. We have one scheduled for tomorrow night, and then we'll do one the night before. It has been since last week posted on our website. So if you go to our main website, one of the images, top images, there's the information and then the link to the tracks. And it has information about the topics. You just need to confirm. We just need to confirm the Zoom link. We need to add those, and we'll do that by the end of the week or sooner. And we have created an event on our Facebook page as well. So those are the channels that we have used to share with families.
Thank you, Fatima. Are there any other questions or any other volunteers? Back to you, Chair Benton.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I was just playing around, and the link does take it right to the announcement on the school district's website that Fatima alerted us of at the top of this district's homepage. So it is working. With that, is there any other action items that we need, Misty, for our safety forum?
Nope, that is it. Thank you, Chair Benton, the marketing and volunteers, and I will make sure to get the agenda out to Dr. LaMarca very soon.
Awesome, thank you. Fatima, is there anything that you need from the commission for the safety forum?
No, the only outstanding item, which Misty already explained, is the need for moderators. We just need to plug those names in, and then we're gonna have quick talking points for all of you as moderators to explain sort of ground rules for the Q&A portion of the presentation.
Awesome, thank you. All right. With that, I don't think there's any action that we need to take on item 2.07. So we will move on to our closing items. The first one is public comment. America, are there any public comment that has been submitted to us during our meeting?
No, Chair Benton, there has not.
Okay. And then also I was looking for the email that you said that came. I have not seen anything from the last, all I saw was the two that were attached to our agenda. So I don't know if you can resend that one out to us.
I will do.
Awesome. Thank you. And then before I close public comment, I want to go back to Ms. Session so that she can provide an answer. Thank you.
Yeah, it is pretty well explained on the agenda how we're approaching public comment. And I will say that this is consistent with the other public bodies in the district, and that it's in compliance with the emergency directives 006 and 044. And so it's not a violation of open meeting law as it stands. And those emergency directives are going to terminate May 31st, 2021. So.
Thank you, Gina. Item 3.02 is our next meeting announcement. And that is June 7th, 2021. And we'll stay tuned to see in what format that will be. As Gina just said, that it could, our governor's directives will expire, so it may be a Zoom meeting, it may be an in-person meeting, but stay tuned to see what format that will be in. With that, it's 3:08, and we will call this